Okay, I think I'm live, and I'm just going to check this. Yep. Okay, cool. Could be live right now. If you are there, maybe just let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to check on my end as well. Yep. Okay, cool. Yep.
It's 1 o'clock.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's working. I jumped on just right on time, so I'll just wait a minute or two, just make sure anyone else is here, they can just jump on. It's a lone webinar today. I don't have Shiraz. He's traveling to Sydney today with Alex, actually. They're both going to another trade event called No Vacancy, which is like a special trade event just for like hotels, and which is a really good sort of market to get into. And it's a 2-day event over there. So they'll be there till Friday, which is very exciting in Sydney. Okay. Could be live right now. If you are there. Okay, cool. Looks like everything is working. If someone, oh, yep, cool. There's people in the chat. Great, awesome. Okay, cool. So what's the time? 1:01. I'll just wait maybe another 30 seconds to a minute. But yeah, it's just going to be a short and sweet webinar today, mainly because half the team are away, but also not much to discuss. But to give you a hint, there will be quite a few things to discuss in the next webinar, so that could definitely be a good one to stay tuned to. So maybe in this webinar, what I'm going to talk about is DD, which is Decor and Design, the trade event that we just had in Melbourne. It went from Thursday to Sunday, and it was really good. So that's the DD thing. And then I'm going to talk about listings as well. So your artwork uploads, listings, that sort of thing. Just because we've had a few that haven't been on point lately. So yeah, I'll go into that into more detail. Great, there's a few more people. Looks like everyone's being so lovely. That's so good. Great. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get straight into it and just talk about Decor and Design, which we just finished. I know I just said that. But basically this was a design event, trade event that was directed at interior designers, architects, and retailers. So very in line with what we're trying to do, sort of getting ourselves known in the trade world, and we did a great job. So what I wanted to talk about was like this event for us was really about promoting Bluethumb, getting the brand name out there. We did have some artwork on display, and a lot of that was organized, a little bit in advance. And it was also kind of what we had in stock as well. So it kind of just came about quite quickly. But yeah, so the main focus for sort of Decor and Design is to really create brand awareness, to start some sort of relationships with people and designers and architects. I helped out at the one last year and the one this year, and nearly like every second person I talked to was like, I was like, oh, have you heard about Bluethumb? And they're like, yes, I have. And I was like, oh, this is so good. So we're definitely getting our name out there. It's working. This was our second Decor and Design event, and we'll most likely do more. I'd say definitely. But it was a really good turnout. A few artists came and dropped by as well, mostly on the weekends. I wasn't there. So I think it was just Alex by herself on the weekend. But yeah, it was a really, really good event. So I thought it might be nice to talk about what you could do as an artist to kind of get yourself sort of more in front of people that are trade clients. And one of the biggest things that we get from our trade clients is they they're filling certain spaces and they have very particular dimensions, or, you know, they might like your style, what are your paintings, but it's the wrong size. So what I would say is be open to commissions. Be very open to commissions. And like, most of our commission inquiries come from artworks that have already sold. So people are scrolling through your sold selection on your profile. And that's where most of our commission inquiries come from. We also use it as well in our private curations that we send to our trade clients too. So if there's something that fits the brief very well, but it has sold previously, we will sometimes include that painting and explain that to the trade clients, like, this isn't available, but this artist is very open to commissions. It's a very easy process, blah, 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 blah. So it's a really good idea to be open to commissions. And what I would say about this as well is, like, people need reminders. I know that sounds silly, but repetition is everything. So maybe consider the language that you're using to show people that you're open to commissions. You know, on artwork descriptions, maybe say, if this isn't the right size or blah, 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 like, contact me. I'm more than open to commission work. And I feel like it would be safe to do that in every single artwork upload. Like, if this isn't quite right, let me know and we can sort it out. It's really that sort of language and repetition that you really need to get. When people see it 3 or 4 times, they'd be like, oh, Breeze, like, I'm going to follow this artist. They could either be like, I'm going to follow this artist and find out what, like, you know, follow them and wait for them to upload work, or bugger it, I'm just going to commission them to do something for me. And then that way I'll know that's what I want. So definitely use that language, especially in your own social media. But I would say, if you haven't already, put it in your artwork description, on your profile bio as well. It's a really good idea. Just while we're on commissions, if someone has looked at your sold works and they're like, I want that, that's exactly what I want. The price is, the size is great, the style is great, that's what I want. Normally what would happen is, if someone inquired about that sold artwork, the normal expectation is same size, same price. So that's kind of the expectation around this thing. If you do get people inquiring about commissions of sold works, that's what they're going to expect. So if you're going to, you know, I feel like you just have to be very careful if someone asks that of you, that's what they're expecting. So try not to be like, you know, and we've all done it. We've all kind of just, you know, oh, I can maybe get a little bit more for this, but I think it's good to be consistent. And, you know, that's something that we say to buyers as well. If we haven't got in contact with you just yet, we say to them, oh, you can normally expect the same price if you're after the same size. So just keep that in mind as well. It would also be a really good idea. And, you know, some of the constant sellers on Bluethumb, they have a framer, like a go-to framer. And this is quite common in trade projects as well, as we'll ask people, or the trade clients will want us to frame their pieces. And sometimes if you're an artist and you're working constantly and you have your canvases made, and, you know, if it's a full-time job for you, you most likely have a framer that you go to and that's your person. If you don't, I'd say have a little look into it. Like, get an idea of, you know, if you work to particular sizes, or if you're a small canvas person, a large canvas person, and you constantly buy like a meter by a meter, like just ask around before someone asks you to look into it. I think it's just kind of like eliminating all those questions and kind of streamlining, you know, questions that people might ask, you've already got the answers to. And that also looks very professional as well. If you know, you know, if you have sort of a framing option, that looks great. And because some people, and this is so common, like, people do buy, like, our statistics show that people do buy ready to hang more and more, And if you have something framed, they're like, great, I don't even have to worry about framing it. And that might even look great to them. I know obviously not everyone can afford to get their pieces framed, but having that option there is great. And also like having the option there with a price is really, really good, because that eliminates sort of any confusion. So if framing something you want to consider and you work in consistent sizes, maybe say, maybe in the artwork description as well, in your Bluethumb profile, this piece can be framed for X amount of money and it will take an extra 2 weeks. I really feel like it's becoming more and more common. So it'd be a really good idea for you to have those inquiries beforehand. And then if they come to you, you're ready to go straight away. It's price. And some artists that we work with quite constantly, they know these prices off the top of their head. So it's a simple like email to them and they let us know everything. So it's just a good thing to have on hand, and it is something that designers ask for. So I definitely think look into it, get a price list. Don't frame everything, just offer it. And normally if you say how long it's going to take, people know what to expect and they're more than happy to do that. So that's just something to consider with trade clients and blah, blah, blah. Sorry. So another thing that kind of came up and we talked about as a team when we got back from the event was that, things that are trending, obviously, are quite fashionable. And what I want to say, I know everyone has different practices, and I feel like this is really for, hitting towards sort of interior clients. And I don't expect everyone to do this. I just think play with it maybe, but entertain the idea and then chuck it out if you want, whatever you want to do with it. But I think experiment with trends. And what I mean by that is like right now what's kind of trending in the design world is pastel colors. So, just have a little play, think about what colors really appeal to you and maybe give it a go painting with those colors, limiting your palette. I don't know. You don't know what can happen off it. And that's what interior designers, I feel like they're really interested in the trends and what's fashionable sort of within interiors. So something to consider. Don't know what you want to do with it. Please, no one change that like complete outlook on art. It's just something to consider. That's all. That I don't mean for there to be 100 pastel paintings or anything like that. I think what is interesting is individualism and not doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Experimentation, play, have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously, not too seriously. Yeah, so just to wrap up about trade events, it's really for us to connect with clients, build relationships, and hopefully work on more projects. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're about. We're all about like getting more projects and, getting your art out there. So that is Decor and Design. We will have, I'm sure Shiraz, the next webinar, Shiraz might even want to touch on no vacancy. It's a little bit of a different crowd, more of a niche, but yeah, hotels. I don't know if anyone's interested in hotels. Great. So I'm going to go straight on to listings now, and then I'll go through and check questions at the end. Great. Okay. So this kind of comes under trade as well, because there was a project that was worked on recently, and this is kind of where this has come from. There was a project that was worked on recently, and a lot of the measurements were incorrect for the artworks /prints/paintings. So I'm going to just give you a few handy tips and just kind of, a few handy tips that might help you when you're uploading or creating new listings or duplicating listings, because that's fun and it saves time. And I know it's a bit of a process, but anyway, it's great. So the first thing I want to say is a lot of canvases and ready-made canvases come as inches. It's pretty common. We're on the metric system, so it's centimeters. And the easiest solution, sometimes you might buy a ready-made canvas and it's 40 by 60 inches. And the easiest thing to do is to just go to Google and check 40 inches, 60 inches, and that's the centimeter. Great, cool, just round it up, whatever. So I think that's kind of a thing that's been happening. And we just need to be careful with that because it's not accurate. And what I want to encourage everyone to do is to grab a tape measure and measure the canvas yourself and record it in centimeters. I think that this is the easiest way to eliminate any doubt. It also means that, you know, if someone's inquired about your work and they've inquired with their own framer, that when they receive the work, they're not upset by the 2 centimeters, blah, 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 and have to send the painting back, have to commission a new painting, blah, 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 blah. So what I really think is get into the habit of measuring your canvases. And especially with ready-made canvases, because the factories, like, they pump them out. So if they will be, not every canvas is the same. So it's really important to measure everything. I feel like it would be safe to say that if you've ordered your canvases from a reputable canvas supplier, then those listings will be correct. But even so, a lot of them still calculate in inches, which is annoying if you're Australian. So yeah, please just keep that in mind. It's really important. With prints, this is also comes under prints, is if you're an artist selling prints on Bluethumb, you really need to go into description about your print and what it looks like, the dimensions, everything else, because we've had a few people return prints lately because they didn't realize there was a white border, a border around the print. They thought, you know, they ordered a print on so this is an example, like someone ordered a print on canvas and they were upset that the image the image size, the printed canvas, once stretched, was smaller than what they purchased. And of course, that's a bit tricky because they've already went and got it stretched and they've wanted it a certain size for their space and it hasn't been that size. So I think it's really important that we just focus in on measurements and measuring for a while because it's getting a bit sticky. So with the print, this is what I want to talk about. Any print on paper or photographic prints, make sure you have in the description, artwork description box thing. Make sure you, okay, I'm gonna start again. In the artwork description box, make sure that you have the dimensions for the artwork, right? And then if the paper obviously there's a border, then you have the measurements for that paper as a whole. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I don't think it did. But just make sure that it's all of it. It's all of it. And as well, having these in the description eliminates and makes it the whole process so much easier. And you look so professional. Like, just it's a win-win. Like, everyone's winning. It's very common as well for us on trade projects that we will need this information. And if it's already on your artwork description, you're looking more favorable to be in those curations and be a part of those projects, as a little hint. So definitely take the time to make sure measurements, dimensions, paper, frames, everything is correct, is what I'm trying to say. I also just want to remind everyone that when you upload a piece and it's published on the site, that you actually get an email every single time you do this, you get an email from us saying this piece is been uploaded. Please check the price, measurements, dimensions. And another thing it asks you to check is, another thing to check is if it's been posted as ready to hang. So I encourage you, whenever you get this email, to just click on it, click on the artwork, and just make sure that it's all G, like all good. Check, if it's not ready to hang, make sure it doesn't say in that first box next to the medium description. Sometimes if it's not ready to hang as well, it might be a good idea to put that in the artwork description, because, if someone misses it, then it's there. And that's, say, like, we have had issues in the past where, it wasn't ready to hang. It was sent to them and everything, and then they returned it, and that artist lost a sale from it. So just be careful, and just over attention to detail is just, you're winning. So what I want to say as well with measurements is, I feel like I know, because some people might put 35.7 centimeters, like that's really good. I feel like if you've got something within 10 mils, so a centimeter, like the measurement, I feel like that's great. That's really good. That should really be your aim for everything that you upload. 2 centimeters, it's far too much. So something to think about. I know this sounds a bit like I'm sorry if this is coming across like, do this, but I'm just trying to make it better and easier for everyone. And these are the very common things that can have someone lose money. So, like yourselves. So just try and just think about it. I don't want to sound too bossy. I feel like I'm coming across too bossy. But anyway, yeah. So as a last little tip, I was just going to say, every now and then, when I feel like when you view your profile as an artist, it's quite easy to just skim it. So maybe once a month or once every couple of weeks, just depends how often you're online or your own schedule. But maybe don't sign in straight away and just go to your profile. And this will be like an anonymous viewing, I guess. And just have a look at how your profile reads, and have a look at the artworks, and maybe click through and have a look at the individual artworks too, and just see if it all kind of flows. And that's the quickest way to kind of pick up little mini mistakes as well, which can make a huge difference. So that would be my tip. Do with it what you want. But yeah, so I hope that was informative and not too and great. So I'm just going to take a minute to go back through the questions. I'm just going to have a skim read first, and then I'll come through and go reply to them. So if you have any questions, chuck them in now, because by the time it loads, I'll be on top of them, answering them, that sort of thing. Great. So I'm just going to have a quick read. Take a minute. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, great. Okay. Awesome. So I know there's only 26 people watching now. I feel like you guys all come from Shiraz and his beautiful beard. It's not fair. Oh, God. This is why we normally have him here. And he's like, Sarah, no. Because I can be a bit embarrassing sometimes. But yeah, it's all good. Great. So everyone's saying hello to each other. Jeff could hear me. That's awesome, Jeff. All good. Hi, Jen. Hi, Marion. Lisa, yes. So Lisa, yes, bring on the commissions. Commissions, don't underestimate the power of commissions. We get heaps. And, if they're a little, they're just great. I just feel like they're a good sort, lots of people get commissions, and, You know, we've had people upload something and then 3 people have wanted it. So that person's been busy with 3 commissions. It's just ridiculous. Like, don't underestimate the power of commissions. And that's also another thing, like, if you're doing work privately, upload it to Bluethumb as sold, and then it's in your little cache and people look at it. They look at it all the time. And that is where the most of our inquiries for commissions come from. So definitely update your sold profile. It's so important, so important. Great. So Joe B, afternoon, Sarah. Yes, so Lisa's also mentioned that her hubby is handy and has made her some frames. Yeah, I think, you know, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but Katie Wyatt, who's one of our top sellers, she gets her dad to make her frames and you know, buys him a carton every other day or whatever. Like, try, if like, I know it can be expensive, so try and figure out other ways around it. And sometimes, actually, a lot of the times, you know, after you start offering framing, you become good friends with your framer and you get discounted rates, and it's just like easy. And he loves that you're bringing him in business, so he's gonna like want to keep you, and sorry, he or she is gonna want to keep you. So definitely, like, build a relationship with people and ask around. Like, you guys have such great network within yourselves. Like, a lot of you have been in the game for, you know, a generous amount of time. So you've already made those contacts and you already know, like, who a good person is to go to. Or, you know, if there's someone that you feel like does a great job and needs, you know, could really do with the business, shout it out. Like, let other artists know. It's like all of that thing of helping each other and helping the industry. It's so important. So yeah, do like framing, share your contacts, guys. Make it happen. So some of my paintings are so large now that I couldn't get them to a framer without a courier. Yes, I know that is a problem. Yeah, I think like large is good. You know, don't underestimate the power of painting on unstretched canvas, like just pinning it to your wall or a board or something, and then painting on that, letting it dry and taking it rolled. So then you can get it stretched at the framer. Like, that's also an option. And he'll love that too. And then also you'll save money because, like, you just need to buy rolled canvas. Like, just there's so many avenues that you could go through. A great example of this is, I know an artist, and I think I've brought this up before, who paints on unrolled canvas, rolls it, stores it, and then when it sells, gets it stretched and then ships it straight from the framer. And that's her method of doing things. So, you know, if you're getting bigger, like that's a great way to save time, money, storage space, like something to consider again. Okay, so Charmaine said, is there a particular size most asked for? I don't know if this is related to trade. I don't know if this is related to trade, but it's a good question. So size is a tricky one. So I think that the best way, I feel like, okay, so I'm just gonna, it could be wrong, but I'm just gonna give you my opinion. I think this is where variety is so important. So if someone is on your profile and they see your work there for, you know, 0.5 meter wide, and then they see another work that's 1 meter wide, right? And sorry, Freddie's looking at me. What? Square meter?
Square 1 meter by 1 meter.
What about that?
That's the most sold.
Oh, right. Thank you. I'll tell you in a second. So sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm losing my track of thought. So say, you know, you have something on your profile that's 1.5 meters, and then another thing on your profile that is 1 meter, and they really like the meter canvas. But if you don't have that 1 by like 1.5, how are they going to know you paint to that size? So it's really also, I think, people, when they're looking at art, they tend to research. They research quite a lot, and you know, it's something like they'll look at a painting 7 or 9 times before they end up purchasing it. So when they're looking at that painting 7 or 9 times, they're also looking through your profile. They're also looking through what other options are out there, what's come, what's gone, that sort of thing. So, you know, I feel like this is why variety is so important, because they're not going to know they can commission large work from you if you don't have large work. So something to think about. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. With Nola, Charmaine, Freddie just came up and told me the most sold size on Bluethumb since we looked at the data last, which was not too long ago, I don't think. The most sold size was 1 meter by 1 meter. So don't know what you want to do with that, but that data is also taken. I don't know, like we haven't segregated that data into just design projects and overall sales. So that's overall sales. So hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, meter by 1 meter seems to be a good size. Hi, Nola. Didn't get notified of this webinar. Yes, we did send, we're trying to cut down on emailing everyone because we've been, what's it called? We've had a lot of people unsubscribing. So we're trying not to send out emails anymore. But basically, if there's no webinar on, we'll let you know. But assume every second week that there's a webinar on. And we would let you know before if there wasn't. Okay, great. Having issues with my new, Nola again. I'm still having issues with my new paintings not showing in the new art feed. So yeah, again, Nola, I'm pretty sure we have talked about this. So the new art feed is it's a curated feed kind of with an algorithm, and a lot of it that takes into consideration is like your photos, if they're not cropped, if they're blurry, you know. So I'll send you something that will explain it a bit better because I'm not doing a very good job of it at the moment. But yeah, maybe just email me and I'll send it to you. Maybe you haven't seen it. And also because we've changed, I don't know if anyone's noticed, no one's talked about it yet, but we've changed the search. We've changed the search on new art. Maybe it was brought up. But anyway, we've changed it. So there's a different way to search through things now, which is changing the game as well. I feel like it's created a little bit more visibility for everyone. And also like from what we can see so far, because we can, when people are logged in anonymously, we can see what they're scrolling through and what they're looking at. So they're more engaged now with the search. So it's great for visibility. You know, people can put in the exact what's it called, budget that they have. So they can do like, oh, you know, $700 to $800. I can only afford this range, and we didn't have that search filter before. Another search filter is they can actually put in the min-max width and height. So if they're looking for something very specific, it will show up with those artworks in that range. So it's great for visibility. Hopefully, if anyone has any questions about that, let us know. We might put it in the next webinar when Shiraz is back, because that's kind of like his little baby. So yeah, great. Okay, cool. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm guessing this is all from the beard comments. Like, okay, good. Oh guys, it's so nice. Everyone, like, yeah, everyone loves Shiraz. He's a great guy. I love him too. This is good to know. Deborah Dixon, stats not working again, spinning wheel of death. Yes, when people logged on this morning, we noticed that profile views weren't correct. So we've already filed that bug, and the devs are working on it straight away, like today already, like as soon as they woke up. It should be great. It should be fixed soon. Like there's just little tweaks. I think guys, it's going to sort itself out. It's going to be fine. So the sold section, can it be permanently arranged to view the newest sold pieces first? I think the way that, and this is, I could be wrong, because this would have been a great question for Shiraz, he's the man. With the sold section, I'm pretty sure it's your most popular, and so it's your most favorited, if that makes sense. So the little love heart. I don't know the answer to this question, but I will put it in the webinar for the next one and we'll answer it then. Cool. Great. So Karen said, how do I place a sold piece in my artwork? Upload as usual, then email you. No, Karen. So what you can do is when you go to upload the artwork, you'll have the pull down tab for availability. And that's when you can mark it as, unavailable for 3 days because it's drying, or unavailable for 21 days because it's in the art exhibition. At the very bottom of that chat, there is, what's it called? My artwork is not for sale, or it says something like mark artwork as sold. Click that one. That will put it straight, like it won't even be on your profile, go straight to the sold section. It's very easy to do, and you can do it when you're uploading. So you don't need to email us. It takes 2 seconds. It doesn't change the upload for you at all. So I definitely put it in, mark it as sold. Okay. Nola, I'm curious with watercolors that are framed. I'm a bit iffy with how the glass comes through shipping. Okay, I'm not too sure what you mean, but with watercolors and pastel pieces, I feel like they're not our biggest sellers. And this is purely probably because they're not ready to hang. And I know some artists that watercolors is their life and they just sell watercolors, but they frame everything. And, I think because the thing with glass is that we're not covered by insurance if we ship anything with glass. So you have to, it's kind of like ship at your own risk, and because they just won't cover anyone. Like they won't do it for anyone. They won't ship. They don't even cover it from mirrors, like from normal mirror shopping shops or whatever. Yeah. So I think I've seen some people ship. Like I've seen some artists ship framed behind glass works, and they actually don't leave the glass in. They don't leave the glass in the frame with the artwork. So they'll wrap the artwork and wrap the artwork and then wrap the glass separately. And that way, if the glass does break, it doesn't damage the artwork. But then also, it's quite, it can be quite inexpensive to get that glass cut or to find another similar shape glass. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, just something to consider if you are going to ship with sold works. We're not covered. We're not covered. I know it makes it difficult, but I do actually see a lot of framed works turn up, no shattered glass. Like it does happen. It's not super common for them to break, but it's so reliant on how you pack it. So reliant. So just something to keep in mind. I feel like I'm saying that a lot. Karen Collins, can't royal oil paintings, I think they crack. Good question. It just depends on how thick it is and how tight it's rolled for it not to crack. But then what you can also do is, you can actually send oil paint, if you are worried about that. No, you can send them. You can send them and they won't crack. It just depends on how thick they are and how tight you roll it. I have seen some artists who paint quite thick and they ship it in like boxes, like square, I don't know, sorry for the size, but they ship them in bigger ones so it has more space. And yeah, I guess it just depends on how thick you're painting. That's all it depends on. Great, cool. Lisa liked the unstretched canvas idea. Nola said, following on from my question regarding shipping framed watercolor, do you unframed watercolors sell? Yes, they do sell, but not as often as an acrylic or oil painting. It's just, I think it's really, people have that problem where like, oh, I'll buy it, but then I'll have to frame it, then I'll have to hang it. And like, it's not as easy. They do sell, like, don't be discouraged because, man, watercolor painting is freaking beautiful. And it's actually, I loved watercolor painting throughout uni, and I loved it. And ink, like, oh gosh. But yeah, definitely don't let it deter you, but it is just a harder sell, if that makes sense. Cool. So Charmaine said, oh, okay, just wondering with trade and room sizes from her last question. Good, she said thank you. So I'm guessing that was answered. So Lisa said, interesting, 1 meter by 1 meter is very hard to find at the art shops at the moment, probably because everyone's buying them and painting them and painting them and then people are buying them. That's probably why. Okay. Hey, Lisa, 40 by 40, which is just 101. Yeah, so that's a pretty common size. Jacqueline, okay. Thanks. Yep, cool. You roll oil paintings with the painted side outside. Thanks, Wendy. Great tip. I've seen it done both ways. I should have mentioned that. But yeah, I think that is all the questions I got there. Cool. So all the questions. I hope you don't mind my rant and it was a very professional webinar. And I said and a lot. Sorry about that. Sorry if you're listening later and you're just like, what is she talking about? But yeah, I feel like that's everything. There doesn't seem to be any more questions. So I'm going to say goodbye. Hopefully that was entertaining. I bet it was. And okay, all right. Great, awesome. I'm glad everyone liked it. Oh, good. Okay, cool. I'm going to head off now, but I don't think I'm not here for the next webinar. I'm on leave, but everyone have a great end of July. Have fun, be kind to each other, and keep painting. Oh, this is so lovely. But yeah, and just keep doing what you're doing. You're all amazing. As a hot tip as well, the second half of the year, we always say people do better for sales and people tend to spend more money. So like great time to upload new work, and like if sales have been slow this year, they should pick up. Like that's statistically what we see. But best of luck. Hope everyone's happy. Cool. I'm going to sign off now. I'm getting a bit of weight. Okay. It won't